Hello, this is Liliana Ospina from Latinos of Michigan TV. We are here tonight with my husband, John. He holds 3 degrees, including an MBA, and we are here to discuss some of the recent happenings with the President Trump. In this case, I wanted my husband to explain us how he feels as a student of economics, as a student of business, about the president's decision to impose tariffs on the steel and aluminum. What's your opinion? What do you think about the tariffs? We see a lot of blowback from both of the sides of the aisle, and I already know your feelings and your wife, but I really like you to tell my viewers what do you think and why. And this is very special because this is our first edition in English. I usually do this show in Spanish, and we want to reach more a community, and that's why my husband is here today with us.
So one of Trump's first acts as president was to follow on a promise that he had made to his constituents, was that he was going to back out of something called the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. When he did that, that in my opinion was a bad omen of things to come, things like what we're seeing now, where he's talking about tariffs. By doing what he's doing, it's signaling to the world that we want to cut ourselves off from free trade. And I don't think he has a problem with that, but our economy will. When we cut ourselves off from the TPP, that opened up the door to China, and we basically walked away from all of our economic allies in the Pacific Rim. So we kind of left them hanging after a very long time. This is kind of following suit with that. As you're aware, there was a skit on SNL where they joked about him saying something to the effect of, well, I saved the steel industry by destroying the auto industry and tanking the Dow Jones, and and everyone laughs and everything. And the problem is that that's not far from where we're going to land. When you do things like throw up barriers to trade, it causes all kinds of nasty problems. Steel is a type of commodity. It's bought and sold very readily. It's used in so many of the projects that we have, and especially in a place like Michigan, right, where we use steel, obviously, in all of the cars and the auto industry, everything that we use it for, or aluminum. A lot of the blocks for engines are made out of aluminum. That has a 10% tariff that's supposed to be added. Steel is a 25% tariff. So when you increase the base price of something, it's just like if I increase the base price of anything you're going to buy, it's going to make things harder. The only way for businesses to still have a profit is going to be to increase the price, which means it's going to be passed on to consumers. Typically what ends up happening is, yes, you may save, I don't know how many jobs he plans on saving in the steel industry, but typically when you see things like this, it's something like a tenfold loss, meaning that for every job that you save, you're essentially paying 10 times what the market would be willing to pay for it. And I don't have the exact estimates on that, so it might not be exactly right. But it is a gross amount of distortion it causes in the free markets. So I see it as very problematic. Tariffs are often very there's something that people like to go through to get, to look good to their constituents, which for Trump is definitely something that he's going to want to do. But the problem with tariffs are that they cause very bad problems in retaliation. If you impose a tariff, you can guarantee someone is going to fight you. And what really concerned me was when President Trump came out and said, we can win a trade war. There is no winner in a trade war. China might suffer, Europe might suffer, we're going to suffer too. There is no winner in a trade war. There's a direct correlation between countries that participate in trade and countries that kind of fall behind and have a slower growth rate and everything else. One of the big things, one of the prerequisites to the Great Depression was something called the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, where they imposed huge tariffs on everything that came in. Something very similar to this occurred under Obama, and he actually turned it away. He said no, that he would not do this tariff. And it may not have been the exact same tariff, but it's something along those same lines. And he turned it away. He had the foresight to turn it away because he knew in the long run it was going to alienate our allies, economic allies. I don't mean militarily, but our allies economically. That's not something you want to do. And unfortunately, this president he's under the opinion that that doesn't matter. There's not a zero-sum gain in economics. If you win, it doesn't mean that I lose. We can both win, and that's what free trade is about. The Tariff Act, that Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act I was telling you about a moment ago, that actually was one of the big prerequisites, one of the big triggers to the Great Depression. When that started, basically the world economy tanked, and we sent everyone into a depression all over the world. I don't know if that's going to happen. I can't say. I would hope not.
No.
But China's already talking about retaliating, so it's a much smaller retaliation than I've presumed. But I do see that it could continue to escalate. That's very problematic. So, in my opinion, I think it's pretty clear, and in most economists' opinion or business opinions, you're even starting to see it out of Silicon Valley now, where people are saying this is a bad idea. You're going to save a couple of jobs, but it's going to be at the expense of an awful lot of other people.
That's terrible. Thanks for watching. We like to see how we can interact more with our audience, and we like some of your questions. For starters, let us know if you had questions dealing with issues like this. Maybe you want to know about Venezuela, maybe get a better understanding of what's hyperinflation or something like that. Ask us a question on Facebook, and if there is an interest, we'll answer that and maybe open up other avenues down the road with other interviewers. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.